Turkish state have to work together because the circumstances are pressing for both of them. I was wondering what you think about the reluctance of the Gezi Park protesters to wholeheartedly support the Kobani protests, for example. Do you think they feel justified after Gezi Park movement like last year, or do you think they are suppressed by the government already, or do you think it's just a usual reaction like the one in the 90s? What do you think about their reluctance or carelessness?
This is a very complicated issue that still the debate is going on. The relationship between the Gezi protest and the Kobani protest and the actors of these different protests and so on. But I can say that according to my observation, unfortunately, actors of Gezi resistance were not active during the Kobani protest. Few of them, yes, but most of them were very passive, and some of them were against. So this is the reality of Turkey. But because, as I said before, because as a kind of response to Kurdish political movement's attitude to Gezi resistance. Yes, Kurds were there, but they were not active, as other elements of Gezi movement were expecting. And so this is a kind of response, and at the last protest of Kobani, Kurds mainly were alone, and also they had some civilian pro-Turkish nationalists and pro-state people. They fought Kurdish protesters, especially in the metropole. And there were, in Gaziantep, there were some, these 3 or 4 people were killed because of these clashes between these two groups. And in the Kobani resistance, this Gezi, the unification which we witnessed in the Gezi movement, the coalition, was not there in the Kobani protest.
Okay, next question. Yes.
Hi there, my name is Gaurav, and I have completed a master's in international relations from the Middlesex University, focusing on Middle East, Near East, which includes Turkey. You mentioned that Abdullah Öcalan, he agreed to a democratic autonomy instead of, and refused a nation-state concept. Now, I'd like to better understand what are the fears of the AKP government that stops them from allowing this to happen, or what do they perceive as the implications that may be adverse? I'd like to know their side of the story and your opinion on that. Thank you.
Some people think that Öcalan is lying, okay? He is still dreaming the independent, unified Kurdish state, Kurdistan, of 4 parts of Kurdistan. But he is lying, he is, as an Arabic word, he is doing taqiyya, etc. I don't think so, because when you look at his books and his defense especially, and I realized in Kandil when I went as a journalist and when I discussed with people of PKK people there, they really assumed the new perspective of Abdullah Öcalan as a Abdullah Öcalan elaborated a real concept of denying the nation state, condemning the nation state, and elaborating a new concept, and by using some arguments of some anarcho-socialist thinkers and like Bohin and or some theory of Immanuel Wallerstein, etc. They really elaborate a new concept, post-Marxist and post-socialist concept. And people are, especially during the ceasefire, PKK people have so many times, because they are not fighting, and they really focused on this ideological education, and all of this is, I was called this ideology or perspective, were taught to the PKK people, and they really assumed it, and they really defend all of this as a detail. But, of course, this changement of Abdullah Öcalan from independence to the autonomy, democratic autonomy, is very important for the peace process. You cannot negotiate with separatist people, or maybe you can negotiate, but it would be really very difficult, or have to divide the country, the negotiation. But here, how to make Turkey again the country of Turks and Kurds and other ethnicities. And the guarantee is coming from the changement of Abdullah Öcalan vision. It is very important. But still, the autonomy as a concept might be very antipathic for so many Turkish people. They cannot accept the autonomy. But you can see, for example, like these people, oh, they ask the autonomy. Okay, they can go as they wish, or they can take their Kurdistan with them. So this is really very, you see the difference? They are not accepting, giving the autonomy in Turkey, the Kurds, and they are maybe ready to give Kurdish region to Kurds as an independent state. Some people are thinking that the autonomy might be more dangerous, or might be more aggressive than the independence. And now, I think that we don't know the details because this process is not so transparent. But I think that this process, if we will achieve as a country, this process will take us to the autonomy of Kurdish people. But Öcalan insists that he is proposing the autonomy not only for Kurds, as also some regional autonomy for Turkey, etc. But of course the main issue is the autonomy for Kurds. And I think that if the process would be successful, we would have an autonomy for Kurds in Turkey. And then the question would be if the dream of confederation of Kurds would be realized or not. But when you look at what's happening in Syria and in Iraq and maybe in Iran, also the confederation is possible. Already, as you know, after the Shengal and after the Mamur, PKK people from Kandil, they came to assistance to Mamur. And from Cizre Canton, they came to IPG people, they came to assistance to Yazidi people to Şengül Mountain. And they, and also Kirkuk authorities invited PKK people for the assistance against ISIS in Kirkuk. And PKK are fighting with Iraqi Kurds in Iraq. And I've read today that Iraqi new prime minister also appreciated PKK behavior in Iraq against ISIS. And it shows us that already there are some rapprochement between Iraqi and Turkish Kurds. As we know that there is always a concurrence, a very hard concurrence between Öcalan and Barzani. And there was always a distance. And now, especially just after what happened in Shengal and Mahmur and Kirkuk, now there is a rapprochement. And maybe this rapprochement might create a basis for this future confederation.
Just a small follow-up question.
Yeah.
When did Öcalan develop the idea of the confederation? Was it after?
After the jail,
After?
when he was in jail, when he was not before the jail.
But before the 2011
Yeah,
beginning
sure,
of civil
sure,
war
sure,
in
sure.
Syria.
Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe some other people, the audience might see better than me. But after some years of his jail and at the first years of 2000.
Okay. No, sorry. Yes.
Hello, it's Evren Aydan. I'm a PhD research student in Oxford University right now. You have mentioned that the Turkish society, the Turkish part of the society is not ready or does not have power to handle anymore in terms of fighting with PKK or the Kurdish powers of Turkey. I agree with that, but I don't know the military situation and economic situation of the Turkey. But I know that there is a real psychological problem within the Turkish part of the society, and I think this is because of the blur position of this negotiation process that you are mentioning. We are, I think for us, the 2 years we are mentioning about the negotiation process, and the only word we know is the democratic autonomy. And we don't know any kind of, for example, will there be autonomy in terms of education, in terms of health services, or there will be a flag, for example, for Kurdistan or no. No one knows within, I mean, in terms of the Turkish public opinion, these are the real question marks. And what I'm trying to say is, I don't know, actually, I'm sorry, the Kurdish part of this issue, if they are preparing their community any kind of peace, but I know that AKP is not preparing Turkish society to reach a peace with Kurds, because he needs, or the government needs, the votes of the Central Anatolian nationalist Turks in each and every elections, and no one prepares the Turkish public opinion just to negotiate with Kurds in terms of allocating some resources to some democratic autonomic entities. Just following this, you have mentioned that there is no other actor. Maybe I can agree in terms of Kurdish issue in Turkey, but you know, during the Kobani protest, the head of CHP, Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, said that the Turkish army should go intervene in Kobani just to help the Kurdish residents in Kobani. Do you think it is a part of a strategic mind which will go through the 2015 elections with HDP, HDP, or it is just a daily strategic, pragmatic political movement of CHP? Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm beginning for the last remarks of CHP's attitudes and changement of attitude of CHP. Too late but good. We cannot deny their step, but it's too late. If at the beginning, from the beginning, if CHP would affirm that they were more enthusiastic for the resolution than AK Party, it would be really very wonderful for Turkey. Instead, they always criticize that the government is negotiating or is in a dialogue with Abdullah Öcalan. They didn't realize the spirit of the process, or they didn't want, they denied to understand this reality. But after the last Congress of CHP, I think that these people who are more democratic, who have more democratic mind for Kurdish question is becoming more powerful, and but this is the first time, and we should wait, and because there are so many pressure on CHP coming from this from his popular bases who are really against any kind of peace with Kurd. And when we look at the expectation of Kurdish and the products of peace process till today, I think that so many people are really criticizing that there is not really concrete achievement of peace process. I don't think so. I think that peace process achieved so many things. First of all, now state is negotiating with Abdullah Öcalan and PKK. It's already a big achievement. And recently, just after, before the presidential election, the new law which create an angle for the peace process is very important. And the recent, how is called, the decree of the governmental decree about the new commission for the peace process. This new commission were all the proposition of Abdullah Öcalan. Normally now we see that the government is accepting the proposition of Abdullah Öcalan in a time schedule. Maybe not as quick as Kurdish public opinion is expecting, but in some time we see that the proposition of Öcalan are approved and legalized. So these are achievements. And look, this is a very old historical question for some years, maybe before the Republic, or at least from the Republic, or at least from the foundation of PKK. The first attack of PKK was 30 years ago, and you are dealing with a problem of 30 years, the trauma of both sides for 30 years. So you cannot do all of this in some months, some days, some years. It will take so much time. Already there is a very important achievement. It was really unimaginable, all of this. You cannot imagine, for example, 6 years ago that Öcalan or some deputies would visit